Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and yes, oh my gosh, so much fall juiciness. Like, wow, I have 13 candles here. I just went kind of crazy. There was all the new stuff that dropped on Thursday, all the fall newness. So we have that to talk about. We have Stranger Things as well, and I also have a few of the Hispanic Heritage Month collections coming out as well, and so we'll get right into it. There was a $13.95 candle sale, plus the 10 off 30 coupon, and then the 3 times the rewards points. I racked up like 3 rewards from all the haulage here. Unfortunately, I didn't have like a 25% off coupon. That would have been so much nicer for all 13 of these candles. So just use a 10 off 30 that I had and call it a day. And without further ado, we'll get into it because it's going to be a pretty long video. So the first collection that we have is this juicy fall wreath collection. I like it. It's kind of simple. It has white wax and like the illustrated labels. And what's cool is online and in stores they have a call out for the artist who did the art on that. So I kind of like that they called that out. It's kind of cool. Caramelized apple, cinnamon crumble, and sugared oats for apple crisp right here. And oh my god, this is so delicious. I love this. Wow. Yeah. Right off the bat is the apple crumble that we've had here. This was Granny Smith, Macintosh, vanilla crumble, cinnamon, and nutmeg. No, this just literally smells like pumpkin apple to me now. I still think that they just repackaged apple crumble because literally apple crumble went away one year and the next year it came out as pumpkin apple. Obviously up to your own opinion, but this just smells kind of like pumpkin apple to me. Whereas this one has a little bit more of that crumbly bakery action to it. A little bit close to apple pumpkin pancakes, but not exactly that. I don't think it's Dutch apple waffles either. Yeah, it kind of gives me apple pumpkin pancakes vibes, but not exactly that. But of course, it's another apple bakery scent from Bath & Body Works, so it's going to be similar to all the other ones. But it's a nice apple bakery scent, and I enjoy it. Like, I think if you liked apple crumble or apple pumpkin pancakes, this just is yet another one of those apple bakery fragrances where it's like, yeah, they smell similar. Does it have to be an exact repackage of anything from the past? No, but it's nice and it smells good. It's just an apple, kind of an apple and oats bakery type of fragrance, and I really enjoy that. So I'm like super excited to light this one up and see how it goes. So apple crisp right there. I like that we finally got a very distinctly apple bakery fragrance, rather than just yet another like moldy fresh apple that we get all the time. So apple crisp right there. It's funny that it's like moldy fresh because it's supposed to be like a fresh crisp apple, but for me it comes off smelling moldy, which is the opposite of being fresh, but you know what I mean. So that was the apple crisp right there. We have fall apple cider right here, and that's what that looks like. Crisp red apple, caramel drizzle, and spice cider. Yeah, this one's another caramel apple fragrance. And the apple is almost like this Jolly Rancher quenching apple type of feel to it. Almost like the candy apple cauldron type of apple, but with a little bit more of a sweet, drippy caramel in it. It's weird because we have had a ton of caramel apple fragrances from them as well as apple cider fragrances. And it's not anywhere near as spicy as a traditional apple cider fragrance that you would get from like a Leaves candle, which is very much like a mulled apple cider type of fragrance, which then turns into spice apple toddy. It's nowhere near as like heavily spiced as that type of fragrance, where it doesn't really smell like a spiced apple cider, more so just like a fresh, juicy apple that has caramel in it. So then you're like, well, is it Cider Lane? And so we have Cider Lane right here. No, this is so much heavier. It has that heaps of that brown sugar in there, and that clove. That brown sugar and the clove makes this much just heavier and richer. And this one, people often says has like a weird like sort of funkiness to it. It doesn't have that like funkiness that people, I mean, I love Cider Lane, but I can see where people would find it a little bit funky. It doesn't have all that going on, so it is not Cider Lane. And then we of course have, what is it, caramel apple as well. Which I think is the same as Wicked Apple, the one that kind of has like those celery components to it. Let's see, Granny Smith apple, warm golden caramel, and cinnamon vanilla cream. Yeah, no, this has that like, kind of like that, the celery caramel fragrance that we get from this caramel apple / Wicked Apple. It's not that either. And then we of course have my beloved Thanksgiving, which was like a one-hit wonder. Love this one. Juicy red apple, gooey caramel praline pieces. Oh my god, I love that. No, it's not. At first glance or first sniff, I thought maybe it would be closer to this. No, this one's still a little bit more richer. and just darker and ooey gooey. Oh, I freaking love Thanksgiving. It's not this, but is it yet another caramel apple fragrance? Absolutely. Yeah, there's almost something a little bit plasticky about it, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of hope it like blooms and transforms. I would say it's the most crisp on the apple and the least heaviest from all the ones that I literally just talked about. So yeah, it's just yet another apple plus caramel fragrance. So that was fall apple cider right there, but still pleasant and nice nonetheless. There was pumpkin snickerdoodle, which we don't need to talk about that. And then also autumn chai is back. I freaking love autumn chai. Oh my god. I like buy it every year, but I still have last year's, still like quite a bit of it left. I was tempted because the label on it is cute this year, but it seems to be now one that comes back pretty regularly that I don't have to worry about it like stocking up on it, that it's gonna go away. So those were the 4 in that collection. I love when they just do the small little petite collections of 4, because then you just like get that like cute little tight collection of candles and labels, and then like it's like that's just what it is. And so yeah. Okay, moving on. We then have like this pressed leaf collection, which is also a small little tight little collection of, I believe it's 3. I didn't get Sunrise Woods because I think I had that last year and it was just kind of whatever. But then we have Honey Wildflower again, which is like so fun to see this again. So this came out, I think we were saying it was like summer or fall of 2021. And it got the full-blown single fragrance launch hook up to it with the most beautiful pressed flower and leaves packaging on it with the white lid, and got the whole like single fragrance launch body care hookup. And it was a lovely fragrance, but the candle unfortunately was so friggin' light. It was like nearly unscented, and so I actually returned it, which I kind of regret because the packaging on that was so pretty, but it was just like literally like a 0 or a 1 in my bedroom. So I was like, girl, I don't need that. So we have it again now, and it's been like downgraded into just a candle in this lineup. Yeah, so Honey Wildflower right there. Crisp pear, fresh wildflowers, and sweet honey. Is this out as a body care this year? I don't even know. But any case, I picked up the candle. Oh my god, that takes me back. Gosh. Yeah, this just takes me straight back to that era. Wow. God, it's such a nostalgic fragrance. It was like, the fragrance was so nice, but just so unscented. But for whatever reason, I just have such like strong like associations to this fragrance. And it smells absolutely lovely. It's gorgeous. It's like this really sweet, awesome honey fragrance, but without it being that like overly like urine-y, drippy honey, or even more of like that caramel maple honey that you get where it goes like overly gourmand. Because there's that like that wildflowers and the pear in there, it cuts it, makes it a little bit more crisp and lighthearted and sweet. Like sweet in like a lighthearted, carefree type of way, not sweet in a gourmand heavy type of way. But yeah, there's just like a lightness and just a light sweetness to this, like a lightheartedness that I really enjoy, with a beautiful just like floral component to it. Oh god, this is so pretty. I really hope this year's version burns better, because this is really such a pretty fragrance. I think it's actually in hand soap again, and I really wanted to get it for that, but I wasn't around a store when it was that $2.95 sale. But oh geez, I'm like super jazzed to smell this again. That was Honey Wildflower right there. Okay, moving on, we have Together Weather. Oh my god, I'm like so jazzed to see this too. And look at those beautiful magenta pressed leaves on there. And that's what that looks like. Blushing Breeze, Sugared Cardamom, and Soft Cedar. White wax on these. Oh god, this is lovely too. Wow, this is beautiful. Oh my god, this is just like Bath & Body Works body care done right. They're just like so beautiful. I love Together Weather when it came out. Was it last year? And it kind of shares similarities to that cozy cinnamon sandalwood fragrance from Aromatherapy, but a little bit more of a slightly floral feminine version of that. What is it? Blushing Breeze, Sugared Cardamom, and Soft Cedar. That's just like, what is that? But wow, it's such a like, it's cozy, but still sweet and still floral at the same time. It's just absolutely beautiful. I wish I could describe this better, but we've had Together Weather last year, so if you liked it last year, it's now in candle form. I really hope this burns and performs well when it goes to burn too. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been like this jazzed about candles. I guess like they really like stacked all their newness towards the end of the season, so now I'm just like, oh my god, girl, give me all of it. So yeah, Together Weather right there, really jazzed for that. And so there was that. Moving on, we have like this still life photography wraparound collection. There's I think a lot of repackages, right? Like Mahogany Vanilla is in there. Harvest Gathering, been there, done that, don't need to talk about it. Farmhouse Pumpkin and Spice is quote unquote new, but it literally smelled like spiced pumpkin and patchouli from the Neutrals line, which we're like, girl, where's that at? And it didn't appear in the Neutrals line this year. It seems like they have repackaged it and remarketed it as Farmhouse Pumpkin and Spice. So that's there if you're interested in that. Still a very beautiful fragrance, so I don't want to discount that whatsoever. And then the one supposedly new one is this whipped honey and vanilla that we have right here, and that's what that looks like. That's what the wraparound is, and there's a little bit of like a raised texture on there, and a cream colored lid. We have fresh vanilla, golden honey, and blossoming neroli. And I believe this was, I think people were saying it was out in a hand soap and a room spray or a wallflower. It was out in other forms previously, but it's the first time out in a 3-wick, and I believe it was in a test single wick launch at one point as well. And so yeah, at first, so I was doing that Instagram live last night. So if you guys tuned in on that Instagram live, you know, I was like smelling this one, and I actually really initially enjoyed it. I was like, this is beautiful, I love it. It's like a creamy, whipped sweetness to it with a little bit of like a floral component in there that's coming from that blossoming neroli. And like, once again, the sweetness is kind of has like a natural quality from the honey component. So it's a little bit honeyed, but not so much to the point that it smells like urine. Like it's not the honey vanilla that was in that bee's knees packaging or the blue and white wraparound packaging. It is not that honey vanilla. And then there was like this, almost like this toasted coconut rice, toasted coconut milk smell that I kept getting, and it was so immensely distinct. And I was like, where have I smelled this before? And so I was like racking my brain on Instagram live, and as soon as I got off of it, I went into my collection and it hit me. I was like, oh my god. And this smells like, if it's not an exact repackage, like a sibling fragrance, like 90% the same as Vanilla Coconut Surf. These two are so incredibly similar. I dare you to compare. Dare to compare on this one. Sweet Vanilla, Coconut Waves, and Beechwood. Yeah, wow. Oh my god. So incredibly similar. This has that same sort of like ricey coconut toastedness as a sweet creaminess to it. And then I will also say this one had like slightly inedible floral quality to it that resembles the inedible floral quality of the neroli in this. These are so incredibly similar. I'll have to burn this one to see, like, maybe this one's a smidge lighter on the coconut aspect, but they're like very similar fragrances. So yeah, if you like this one, I think you'll enjoy this one because they're quite similar, but I'll reserve full judgment until I go to burn this one. But I did love Vanilla Coconut Surf to the point that I did pick up 2 of these. So I'm not mad to see it out similar again, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll have to see. So that was that right there. Okay, so that was the photography collection. Moving on, we have this collection, which I think there's like a marshmallow fireside and a Honeycrisp apple. And the one new one is maple pumpkin, and that's what that looks like right here. Very pretty, standard, like what you expect for fall vibe. Pumpkin spice, sweet maple syrup, and brown sugar. Thick rope like Wicks white wax. Yeah, it's like one of those fragrances, like, been there, done that, smelled it 100 times before. You know, it's a standard super heavy cloying maple fragrance that you get from Bath & Body Works with a little bit of that quote-unquote pumpkin spice fragrance. Like, you know, Eleven's Waffle or even Caramel Pumpkin Swirl, which is what, Cinnamon Caramel Swirl? Very much in that Cinnamon Caramel Swirl family of overly sweet, overly, like, decadent, ooey gooey sweet, caramel, pumpkin, whatever. It's not super groundbreaking. Like, it's not like pumpkin French toast where that has like a maple presence in it. It's like not pumpkin pecan waffles. I would say somewhere in line with that cinnamon caramel swirl, pumpkin caramel swirl type of variety of fragrance where it's just like a generic but well executed, maybe super heavy cloying, sweet, like maple caramel pumpkin fragrance. Nothing groundbreaking, but it serves the purpose of being, you know, a very mass appeal, sweet, cutesy, gourmand fragrance. Maple pumpkin right there. Like this one kind of smells like it's gonna be really strong, so fingers crossed. Okay, so that was that. Moving on, we have this, oh my god, gorgeous like Art Nouveau print pattern wraparound collection. Oh, gorgeous. Afternoon apple picking right there. And what's fun is every single one of these have these small little like history blurbs on the side of them. I was like, oh my God, color me like, I'm just like tickled fancy by that. Afternoon apple picking debuted in our soap form in 2016 and was an instant hit. Now find this beloved fall fragrance and activity in candles for its first time. I think the most notable one of all the ones that came out, there was like a leaves and a white pumpkin and a mountain teakwood. And what's fun on the mountain teakwood one, they actually say that it was supposed to be a blend of mahogany teakwood and frozen lake. And for the longest time, I always like pinpointed that frozen lake type of fragrance in that fragrance. And so it's like fun for them to finally actually like admit to it. So Frozen Lake, Mountain Teakwood has that blurb on it. So super cool that they have that like history blurb on there. I really enjoy that. So yes, afternoon apple picking. I've never had the soap or the pocket back or whatever this came out in because it's just another one of those generic apple fragrances. Crisp apple, succulent pear, and cinnamon. Yeah, it's just another apple fragrance. It's sweetened by pear, so it kind of takes that edge off of that sort of moldy apple that you get from autumn apple or American apple, farm stand apple, heirloom apple, Honeycrisp apple, apple weather, all have that like sort of sharp, moldy freshness to it. This takes that edge off a little bit because the pear does make it a little bit sweeter, but then there is kind of like this chewing gum cinnamon spice fragrance at the very end. I picked it up because it was the one new one and the packaging on the collection was cute. So yeah, I don't know. I guess if I want an apple fragrance, here it is. Autumn is such a beautiful apple masterpiece for the fall time, and that is not out. So kind of like autumn would have been a good addition in this collection, especially because it's supposed to like show the history and everything. But I guess I wouldn't have picked up autumn because I still have that. Whereas this is at least a new fragrance in 3-wick format that I actually picked it up. So it is what it is. Afternoon apple picking right there. Okay, cool. Lastly of the collections, there was this collection, which I think was all repackages. It was like pumpkin cupcake and sweet cinnamon pumpkin we have right here. I am like so stoked to finally have this in a 3-wick again. Because what happens is sweet cinnamon pumpkin has been a fragrance that was like such a mainstay for the longest time, like one of the very first fall candles out the door come fall season. But now they like move it to a online exclusive for the most part. And then it doesn't, like, now only comes out maybe like once, but like later in the season. And so I was like, oh, I'm really jonesing for sweet cinnamon pumpkin. And so I did indeed get one here, and I was so excited to burn it that I already burned it last night after I hauled it. Warm cinnamon, fresh ground clove, vanilla cream, and brown sugar. Oh God, this just takes me back to like Slatkin & Co. days of Bath & Body Works. It's just that like kind of craft store smelling, Michael smelling, cinnamon, pumpkin, clove fragrance. Kind of has that broomstick quality to it as well, but also has a slightly edible like pumpkin pie filling element to it. Oh God, I was just burning this in my bedroom and it just took me back to like simpler days, where, so yeah, sweet cinnamon pumpkin right there. Super basic fragrance, but cute packaging. I like the botanical sort of vintage print on it. And I just love being able to get sweet cinnamon pumpkin without having to pay shipping for it. It's funny because like you took sweet cinnamon pumpkin for granted every year for the longest time. And now that they like play tricks with us and the availability, I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually excited to get it. So that was sweet cinnamon pumpkin right there. So that concludes the fall portion of the haulage. Super jazz. A lot of fun like body care back into candles. Some newness in there as well. A fun apple variety. Yeah, so I'm happy to see it, and I really love just the aesthetic of that launch. So that was cool. Okay. Moving on, we have I think the next Heritage Month collection, and I have 2 out of the 4. I really wanted the Flower Festival one and the Rainforest Jungle one, but unfortunately those were the 2 that were not available at the time, but they had the other 2, and I can't complain because I was still super happy to get them. And so we have the, brown sugar coconut, and that's what that looks like right here. So we still have the paragraph label, although with a smaller blurb this time around. We have like a raised textured basket weave pattern and a cream colored lid. This one's brown sugar coconut, and it reads, a sweet scent memory of yummy cocada treats from my childhood, instant happiness. Fragrance created by Adriana Medina and designed by Carolina Martinez Rudolfo. Creamy coconut, brown sugar glaze, and vanilla bean. Let's see, core wicks with a crap load of dust inside of it. I don't even know if the dust is gonna show up. It does not. Okay. This is another super toasty gourmand coconut fragrance. It's not super groundbreaking or super unique. It's very much in line with that Santorini Coast, but I think a little bit more gourmand and edible than that because it has a little bit more of like that brown sugar component to it, but very much in that Santorini Coast type of coconut warmth to it. Very similar to Toasted Coconut, which was that like weird singed hair one that was also overly gourmand, but also weirdly artificial and nasty, which also turned into that like toffee brittle thing and marble toffee at one point. Those were all kind of been there in that sort of like coconut caramel type of fragrance. It is not coconut cream pie, in my opinion. It's also like not coconut cabana. It's not toasted coconut s'mores or cookie or eclair. I would say closest to that kind of Santorini Coast, but more edible. So I guess that would put it in like a toasted coconut category, which you guys know I always said that one kind of smelled like singed hair and coconut. I'll have to see if this one, because it's just also similar, I'll have to burn this one to see if it's exactly the same or not. But it's another gourmand coconut fragrance. It's very mass appeal and friendly, that I think a lot of people will enjoy it. But for me, I was just so traumatized by toasted coconut that I'm just kind of like, ooh, I don't know if that's what it is again, but brown sugar coconut right there. Cool. And then the next one we have is Mango Passion Fruit, and that's what that looks like right there, super orange and fun. We have an ode to the rich abundance of vibrantly juicy, sensationally sweet, and tangy tropical fruits grown under the golden sun. Juicy mango, ripe passion fruit, and fresh pineapple. And so you would think that has mango and pineapple in it. Is it going to be pineapple mango? It is not. I think this is a new fragrance, and it smells delicious. I don't normally love Bath & Body Works tropical fruit fragrances, but this one's actually quite juicy and ripe and awesome. It really has or captures that like passion fruit nectar or mango nectar or like a passion fruit mango like Welch's drink or whatever that you get from the grocery store and like you're pouring it and it's like rich and pulpy and like overly sweet. It's very much that type of like mango passion fruit like juice concentrate type of feel to it, you know? You get like the mango is quite realistic and like you can imagine yourself like chopping it up and like just smushing the like the orange goopiness and just like smelling the sweetness in your hands, along with that like really juicy and ripe passion fruit quality in there as well, where like if a passion fruit is like really realistic, it almost even has that tinge of that sort of like BO quality to it. It like almost goes there without it being offensive or nasty in any way. But the passion fruit is quite juicy and sweet. It kind of reminds me of there was a pink passion fruit one-hit wonder from a Fresh Pick collection a long time ago. It kind of reminds me of that juiciness of that pink passion fruit that I really enjoyed. And it mixes it with a really awesome juicy mango. I actually quite enjoy it. I don't necessarily love tropical fruit fragrances, but I can still appreciate with how juicy and sweet and realistic this is. So there's that. I don't think it's a repackage of like any of the Sunny Red mangoes and the mango tiki mai tai, whatever that is. Or mango dragon fruit, Mary mango. I think this is actually new in the sense that the passion fruit smells so juicy and quenching, and so I really appreciate that. It's like probably the most realistic and less synthetic artificial of the mangoes and tropical fruits that we've had. Nothing like the disgusting Aloha Kiwi passion fruit or anything like that. So actually a thumbs up on that one. So that was cool. That concludes the Heritage Month collection. So there's two more, a Festival de la Flores, which is like a flower festival one, and a Rainforest Jungle, which were the two I was most excited for. But I'll have to get those when they come out later. So there was that. And lastly, we have the Stranger Things drop. So we got the bigger grand floor set with the displays and the massive candle stands and the wildflower plugs and all that kind of stuff. Hand soaps, similar to the Bridgerton launch this time around. It's kind of cool how they, I guess, broke it up into like the part 1 and the part 2. And many people were suspecting that maybe part 2 will be the spookier fragrances. And sure enough, here we are with the spookier fragrances. So there's 3 candles that I picked up. And there's 3 that are out. We have the Demogorgon. I do not watch Stranger Things. I have absolutely no idea if this ties into the concept or what I would imagine a Demogorgon to smell like. These have the fun gunmetal lids that do not have the Bath & Body Works logo stamped on them. We like rarely ever see that. Like Bridgerton, I think, still had like a design on it, right? But this one's just like flat without a logo, so it's just like, oh my god, it's just like so flat and shiny, which is kind of fun and juicy to like not to have just a flat lid on it. It's interesting that they did that with a Stranger Things one, and it has the gunmetal finish on it, which is really cool. Black orchid petals, spicy cedarwood, and dark patchouli. These are indeed $29.95, but they are included part of the sale. Yeah. I don't know. I was expecting for something a little bit more floral and exotic and sophisticated. There's a Tom Ford Black Orchid fragrance, which is supposed to be like dark orchid petals or black orchid petals mixed with patchouli. And so I was thinking maybe it would be that, but I can't even recall what that Tom Ford fragrance smells like. But this kind of doesn't smell like what I would imagine that fragrance to smell like. This just is heaps of a red hot cinnamon, like heaps and heaps of a red hot cinnamon. It leans very much in that spiced cardamom candle. If you remember that, it's very much in line with that. It's that kind of almost like this rustic red hot cinnamon fragrance to it, which isn't too far off from your holidays and your cinnamon and clove buds and cinnamon stick and all those. The red hot cinnamon action in this is very strong and first and foremost. And there's maybe a little bit of a floral prettiness kind of chilling in the background that takes maybe a little bit of the edge off of that cinnamon. But this pretty much smells like a holiday cinnamon candle, is what it smells like. I guess because it's supposed to be red, deep, and intense, they thought like the red hot cinnamon would maybe match that aesthetic or the concept. I don't really know, but it's, I guess, not what I expected. I was just really hoping for more of that exotic black orchid petals, maybe like a more of a mature floral to go in there. And they don't even call out cinnamon as a note. Yeah. I'll have to burn this one, and I'm hoping maybe it'll transform somehow, but I would say spiced cardamom is like the closest thing to this. So yet another red hot cinnamon fragrance, but fingers crossed it blooms a little bit more when you go to burn it. So that was that one right there. Intense packaging though, wow. Like once again, this is nothing I would ever want to decorate my house with. So it's like, I really don't want this out like on my counters, but you know, it is what it is. Moving on, we have Eddie's leather jacket, and that's what that looks like. And this one's fun because it has the leather texture to it, but also has the double-sided design there. This one says black leather, soft musk, and smoked suede, coral wicks and white wax. Yeah, it's just another one of those men's leather fragrance. A little bit of sweetness or creaminess in there with heaps of a very obvious leather. Like not too far off from the leather and brandy fragrance we've had before, or the pink rose and leather. We've had that like sort of leather component kind of weave its way in. Yeah, yeah, you get leather with a little bit of a sweet creaminess in there. I don't know, it smells fine. I just never really like am jonesing my house to smell like leather, but she or he exists. It's probably a he because it's Eddie's leather jacket. He exists. So there's that. And lastly, in that collection, ooh, I love this metallic gradient though. Ooh, F me up with that. Okay, let's see. Stranger Things, this is the upside down. Did that focus properly? There we go. Mossy stone, smoky birch tree, and eerie fog. And when you read that, you're like, oh my god, is this going to be Moonlit Graveyard? I'm so sad to say for the Moonlit Graveyard fanatics out there, this is not at all. These two are not at all the same. So yeah. Instead, this smells like a Christmas tree fragrance. Wow. I would say closest to the evergreen candle, but I want to say the evergreen candle was a little bit, maybe a little bit deeper and has like almost like this slight men's cologne fragrance to it that I don't think it is exactly evergreen from back in the day, but I would say the closest type of like pine note to that evergreen candle we've had before. It's kind of like if you took evergreen with a little bit of that like sort of aquatic ozone element that sometimes like kind of shows up in like frozen lake, like that sort of like fog smell that you find in candles or home fragrance. Add a little bit of fog to heaps of this Christmas tree fragrance, and that's what this smells like. This could be totally marketed as some just like, I don't want to say generic, but like a very basic mass appeal Christmas tree fragrance, and I would believe it 100%. So it's just kind of weird that they like they took the upside down concept, which you would think would be a little bit more exotic and creepy and out there, but it turned out to be a really safe Christmas tree fragrance, is a little bit of a disconnect. But maybe the upside down is supposed to smell like Christmas trees. I don't know. So kind of weird. I was expecting something a little bit more creepy and spooky. But this turned out to be a Christmas tree fragrance. This one turned out to be a Christmas cinnamon fragrance. And then this one turned out to be a leather fragrance, which this one's probably the most hits the nail on the head. But I guess I was expecting something a little bit more spooky or creepy. But once again, this is Bath & Body Works. They have a gajillion stores out there, a ton of overhead, and, you know, all the bills to pay. And so they have to, you know, appeal to the masses or be a little bit more safe in their selections rather than having a gory, metallic, like bloody smelling candle, for example, out there. So I don't know, I guess for Stranger Things, you might have expected something a little bit more weird and strange. So I guess it's just that delicate balance of like, okay, we gotta still push and move product for a very wide appeal demographic, but at the same time still kind of appeal spooky by the packaging and the naming. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, you kind of have to like just balance the objectives or goals, right? So it's kind of hard, but yeah, overall, the first four were like the pineapple pizza one, the vanilla scoops thing, what was it? The maple waffles and the coffee one. Those were all kind of basic too, right? I think pineapple pizza was the most like weird out one. And then these are kind of, they are what they are. I don't know. That's all my thoughts that I have on that right now. So yeah, that was that. Thanks so much if you watched this entire video or haul video. I haven't been this jazzed about candles from Bath & Body Works in a while. But a fun, nice showing here. Kind of exciting. There's already Christmas test candles showing up on social media as well. So keep your eye out on that stuff as well. And plenty of candles to keep me busy and entertained, as if I didn't already have all the other candles from the last batch that I just hauled. Pumpkin s'mores still remains #1. Oh my god, so freaking delicious. And I actually really enjoy the Wicked Vanilla Woods. That actually has a throw on it, and it's like beautiful and gorgeous in my bedroom. I actually really enjoy that fragrance. So if there's ever a appealing, enticing Halloween promo, I actually would give the thumbs up on the Wicked Vanilla Woods. That and pumpkin s'mores have been like up there. So yeah, cool, awesome. Thanks so much for watching. Leave all your comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.